Okay, we'll start. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayate Nastapráyeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttamastuke Bhaktir Naishtaki Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yatkripatamahamam vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Shri चैतन्यमीश्वरम् ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुं मिलितं तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So starting from
3. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
33, no?
53.
Okay.
33.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Wait one sec.
Oh.
Wait, Text 33. Kragayatah swayana tatpadah priyashravah ahuta hiva me si ramam darshanam yati chetasi. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation: The Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, whose glories and activities are pleasing to hear, at once appears on the set of my heart as if called for, as soon as I begin to chant his holy activities. A purport: The absolute personality of Godhead is not different from his transcendental name, form, pastimes, and the sound vibration thereof. As soon as a pure devotee engages himself in the pure devotional service of hearing, chanting, and remembering the name, fame, and activities of the Lord, at once he becomes visible to the transcendental eyes of the pure devotee by reflecting himself on the mirror of the heart by spiritual television. Therefore, a pure devotee who is related with the Lord in loving transcendental service can experience the presence of the Lord at every moment. It is a natural psychology in every individual case that a person likes to hear and enjoy his personal glories enumerated by others. That is a natural instinct, and the Lord, being also an individual personality like others, is not an exception to this psychology because psychological characteristics visible in the individual souls are but reflections of the same psychology in the absolute Lord. The only difference is that the Lord is the greatest personality of all and absolute in all his affairs. If therefore the Lord is attracted by the pure devotees' chanting of his glories, there is nothing astonishing. Since he is absolute, he can appear himself in the picture of his glorification, the two things being identical. Srila Narada chants the glorification of the Lord not for his personal benefit, but because the glorification are identical with the Lord. Narada Muni forces the presence of the Lord by the transcendental chanting. Hare Krishna. So, what I understood here is like now when we are reading Srimad Bhagavatam, when we are talking about Krishna, Krishna will himself enter into the hearts of the devotees. In fact, when we chant, they tell that when we chant Krishna, will be himself listening. In fact, the name of Krishna is more powerful than his being. So, whenever we chant with a pure heart, soul, or anything, the whole place becomes purified because Krishna's presence, the Supreme Personality's presence, is present there.
Shruti
So,
Mataji, voice is
yes,
not coming properly.
yes, Prabhuji. Okay, one sec. So, what I understood from here is that whenever we chant or hear like the Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita or any pastimes or leelas of Sri Krishna, then Krishna himself will be present over there in the hearts of the devotees. It's something like telling that when Krishna's leelas or activities are read, we are praising the Lord and we are talking about him. Similarly, like in individual soul, like we are just individual souls. When somebody is praising or talking about us, we feel very happy because somebody is appreciating us. So similarly, we being part and parcel of the Paramatma, that is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the pure and the highest, this one. So the pure soul, the Paramatma himself is present when we chant. It's told that when we chant the name of Krishna, Krishna himself is the name itself has Krishna in itself. That is, Krishna himself is there. So similarly, here it is being told by chanting and the process of telling, spreading the transcendental activities, we make a seat of Krishna in her heart. So now Narad Muni was doing the same. He always used to tell Narayana, Narayana. So when he used to tell Narayana, it was not just for because he had by hearted the sound Narayana, Narayana, or he found it pleasant to hear. He wanted to carry the Supreme Personality of Lord to all the other souls who he used to meet on his way or going around the world, so that they also come in contact with. So chanting Krishna's name or chanting Rama's name, like they tell that just when in the Ramayana they tell that when they were throwing the stone, they were chanting the name of Lord Rama, so that had so much of power. But when Rama tried to throw a stone, he did not chant his name, but that stone did not float. I don't know whether this story is true or not, because it tells that the name and
It's true,
activities of
Mataji.
the Lord is true. Okay. So it's told that the name and activities of the Lord are more powerful. So now when we are hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, I'm sure Krishna is also there here present in between us in our hearts, and he's listening to all that we are saying. This is what I understood. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Wonderful. Yeah. So the conclusion is that we should chant not for our glories, to chant for the benefit of, our benefit for the glorification of the Lord, not for my name fame. That's what Narada Muni is saying. He chants for glorification of the Lord, not for his personal benefit, but because glorification is identical with the Lord. Thank you, Mataji. I think you have covered nicely. We'll move on to the next sloka, 34. Who is doing 34? Jai Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, 34 to 36, Ashish Prabhuji.
I think he has not joined, no? No problem. Let somebody else read. Anyone who is available here. Please go ahead. Quickly. Whoever. Yes, Varsha Mataji, you to read.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Okay.
Etat hai, Mataji, can you read this shloka? I can.
Yes, Mataji.
Thank you.
It's 34. Etadi aturachittanam matra sparshe chaya muhu matra sparshe chaya muhu bhavatindu plavo dristo hari charyanu varnanam.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. It is personally experienced by me that those who are always full of cares and anxieties due to desiring content of the senses with their object can cross the ocean of nescience on the most suitable boat, the constant chanting of the transcendental activities of the personality of Godhead. Purport. The symptom of a living being is that he cannot remain silent even for some time. He must be doing something, thinking of something, or talking about something. Generally, the materialistic men think and discuss about subjects which satisfy their senses. But as these things are exercised under the influence of the external illusory energy, such sensual activities do not actually give them any satisfaction. On the contrary, they become full with the cares and anxieties. This is called Maya, or what is not, that which cannot. Yeah. That which cannot give them satisfaction is accepted as an object for satisfaction. So Narada Muni, by his personal experience, say that satisfaction for such frustrated beings engaged in sense gratification is to chant always the activities of the Lord. The point is that the subject matter only should be changed. No one can check the thinking activity of a living being, nor the feelings, willing, or working process. But if one wants actual happiness, one must change the subject matter only. Instead of talking of the politics a dying man, one must discuss the politics administered by Lord himself. Instead of relishing activities of the cinema artist, one can turn his attention to the activity of the Lord and his eternal associates like the gopis and Lakshmis. The Almighty Personality of Godhead, by His causeless mercy, descends on the earth and manifests activities almost on the line of the worldly men, but at the same time, extraordinarily because He is Almighty. He does so for the benefit of all conditioned souls so that they can turn their attention to transcendence. By doing so, the conditioned souls will gradually be promoted to the transcendental position and easily cross the ocean of nescience, the source of all miseries. This is stated from the personal experience by an author like Sri Narada Muni, and we can have the same experience also if we begin to follow the footsteps of the great sage, the dearmost devotee of the Lord. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Any points you want to share, Mataji?
Only I could understand is that we should not talk any unwanted thing except for the glories of Lord. Instead of someone doing politics or something, instead we should focus on what Lord and his leelas. But I didn't get what is nice science they are talking about, Prabhuji.
Needs is a problem, the area of problem.
Okay.
Material sense, the place of problem.
Okay. So because of that only we are into this misery and anxiety and all those things.
Yeah. So Narada Muni is saying by personal experience. See, bhakti is not something theory, it's a practical. So Narada Muni is explaining by personal experience. He's experiencing, realizing it. So similarly for all of us, when you do bhakti, we experience it. That's the reason there are devotees, they have huge richness or high qualities or big job. They give up everything because here they get something which is beyond their measurable. This kind of happiness, satisfaction you get in bhakti, which they cannot get anywhere. So that's the reason this personal experience. So Narada Muni also says that the chanting the transcendental activities of personality Godhead is the topmost. It's like with that chanting, like a boat is saying, we can cross the nescence of the material world towards the spiritual world. So that's a boat which takes us this world to the other world. So the importance on chanting is given. Prabhupada also says that generally materialistic men think and discuss about subjects which satisfy the senses. We see today, either open a TV or anything, YouTube, lot of discussion happening, politics or movie, all this, But what is the result? They are talking same thing again and again and again, and there is no conclusion, and they fight each other and argue each other. What are we going to achieve? I mean, the discussion has no meaning. Whereas the discussion of Bhagavatam, it says, it's good for the whole universe. The whole human race gets benefited. That is a difference. But that discussion doesn't happen. You cannot see any TV or any discussion about Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, or Krishna's. No, there's no such a discussion. They discuss all these unwanted things because their senses are getting attracted to that. But why? Because it's Prabhupada says the jiva cannot keep quiet. You have to think, feeling, and do something. So instead of doing about Krishna, they do about this. That's the difference. So what, as a practice devotee, we should divert that. We should also think, we should also willing, we should also do something, but do about something related to Krishna. That's a change we should develop. That's why Prabhupada is bringing it the topic that we should always think about Krishna. That is the real benefit for all conditioned soul. That's the only way to we can realize the real bhakti and go back to Krishna. Sorry. Okay, we'll go to 35.
35 also, Ashish Prabhuji. Prabhuji.
Okay, you can read, Mataji. Somebody can.
Prabhuji?
Yeah, go ahead, read. No problem.
Yeah, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Ashish Prabhu not joined, no? It's not there, no?
35.
Okay. Yeah.
Yamadibiryoga patihi kamalobahato muhinu mukunda sevaya yadvat tatat madha na samyati. Translation: it is true that by practicing restraint of the senses by the yoga system, one can get relief from the disturbances of desire and lust. But this is not sufficient to give satisfaction to the soul. For this satisfaction is derived from devotional service to the personality of Godhead. Purport: yoga aims at controlling the senses. By practice of the mystic process of bodily exercises in sitting, thinking, feeling, willing, concentrating, meditating, and at last being merged into transcendence, one can control the senses. The senses are considered like venomous serpents, and the yoga system is just to control them. On the other hand, Narad Muni recommends another method for controlling the senses in the transcendental loving service of Mukunda, the personality of Godhead. By his experience, he says that devotional service to the Lord is more effective and practical than the system of artificially controlling the senses. In the service of the Lord Mukunda, the senses are transcendently engaged. Thus, there is no chance of their being engaged in sense satisfaction. The senses want some engagement. To check them artificially is no check at all, because as soon as there is some opportunity for enjoyment, the serpent-like senses will certainly take advantage of it. There are many such instances in history, just like Vishwamitra Muni's falling a victim to the beauty of Menaka. But Thakura Haridasa was allured at midnight by the well-dressed Maya, and still she could not induce that great devotee into her trap. The whole idea is that without devotional service of the Lord, neither the yoga system nor dry philosophical speculation can ever become successful. Pure devotional service of the Lord, without being tinged with fruitive work, mystic yoga, or speculative philosophy, is the foremost procedure to attain self-realization. Such pure devotional service is transcendental in nature, and the system of yoga and jnana are subordinate to such a process. When the transcendental devotional service is mixed with a subordinate process, it is no longer transcendental, but it is called mixed devotional service. Srila Vyasadeva, the author of Srimad Bhagavatam, will gradually develop all these different systems of transcendental realization in the text. So what my little understanding is that, Prabhuji, actually yoga aims at controlling senses. By yoga, to control the senses, yoga processes used. So the bodily sitting, thinking, feeling, willing, concentrating, meditating. So all that should be merged into transcendent. To control the senses, one should use the one uses yoga system to control the senses. So our senses are very strong. They are like serpents, it seems. Very easily we can fall into any maya. Like Prabhupada here gives examples how the senses are so strong, like the great sages Vishwamitra and Haridas Thakura Haridasa, how they have fall because they lost the senses, they lost the senses of controlling. So senses are very, our body senses are very, very weak. So instead of engaging our senses in some other activities, if we use the senses for the devotional service, it is very good and it is very useful. And all the senses should be used for the loving service of Mukunda, the personality of Godhead. If we use the senses in devotional service of the Lord, it is very effective and it is very useful and it is very good for the soul. So the whole idea is that without devotional service of the Lord, neither the yoga system or the dry philosophical speculation, it is not successful. So pure devotional service of the Lord without being tinged with fruitive work, mystic yoga, or speculative philosophy is the foremost procedure to attain self-realization. So such pure devotional service is transcendental in nature. When the transcendental devotional service is mixed with the subordinate process also, it is not, it is called mixed devotional service and it is not recommended. So Srila Vyasadeva, the author of the Bhagavatam, in the next text, he'll tell the different systems of transcendental realization. So the main point here is controlling of the senses and the use of senses to devotional service rather than using for some other sense gratification. That's what I understand, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you. Here, Vishwamitra fell, but Haridas Thakura did not. That's the difference. Prabhupada giving a distinction that Vishwamitra, even after meditating for thousands of years, Menaka's ankle bell, he fell, he ran behind her. But Haridas Thakura, just by chanting the holy name, the Maya Devi could not attract him. He subdued Maya Devi, and she became his disciple. So that's the difference Prabhupada bringing out. Also, Prabhupada says, the task for us is sufficient to give satisfaction to the soul. Because we do so many things for satisfaction of the body and body related, but we are not doing anything for satisfaction of the soul. That's the task which is the devotional service. Also, Prabhupada brings out that the Mukunda, Krishna is called Mukunda because one can give mukti. Krishna only can give mukti, no one else. Even Brahma, Shiva, or any Devi Devata, they cannot give mukti. Mukti can be given by only Krishna. That's why it's called Mukunda. So we should worship Krishna because he only can give us a liberation. But at the same time, a pure devotee doesn't even aspire for liberation, because for a pure devotee, serving Krishna or Krishna's devotees anywhere, whether hell or heaven or Vaikuntha or Goloka, Bhudoka, wherever it is okay for him, because he wants to eternally serve at lotus feet of Krishna and his devotees. You know the Bilva Mangal Thakur. Bilva Mangal Thakur was actually saying that the mukti, the liberation is waiting outside my doorstep. But I am not interested in her. Let her wait there. I am interested in serving Krishna and his devotees. So that is the difference. So we should always always serve, the whatever task for the satisfaction of Krishna, we should. Prabhupada brings out here, we cannot, check artificially the senses and the activities, because he says check them artificially is no check at all, because our senses and mind cannot be controlled. They'll keep on running. We have to engage them. We have to give them task. Like a haunted ghost, we have to give them task. As soon as the task finished, it will come back. Similarly, our mind and senses, we should always engage, somehow continuously engage throughout the day. Morning 4 o'clock to evening 8:30, 9 o'clock. We should have busy back to back to back to back schedule should be there throughout the year. That's why you see Prabhupada's daily programs, festivals. Now, if you see how Papani Hatti, 30th September, Rath Yatra, after Janmashtami, Balram Jayanti, after Damodara month, throughout the year, one after festivals, so that devotees are busy. They don't have time to run behind anything else, which is called Maya. Maya is just not there, because if once you get in the grip of Maya, we are gone. Because our real aim is to self-realization, understand Krishna and understand me, who I am and what is my duty. That's understanding. So the yoga and jnana helps, but they are not the superior. Bhakti is superior, yoga, jnana as subordinate. So that what Srila Vyasadeva was saying, Bhagavatam is the nectar which helps us to realize the bhakti, which is, take back to Krishna. You can possibly read one more sloka. 36. Over there.
36.
Yeah.
Sarvam tad idam akyatam yatrastoham tvaya naga janma karma rahasyam me bhavatas-chatma toshanam. Purport and translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Puja. Mataji and Prabhuji, anybody wants to read the translation and purport can read.
Mariappan Prabhu, don't read.
Oh. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
Srila Prabhupada Puji. Translation. O Vyasadeva, you are freed from all sins. Thus I have explained my birth and activities for self-realization. As you asked, all this will be conducive for your personal satisfaction also. Purport. The process of devotional activities from the beginning to the stage of transcendences is all duly explained to satisfy the inquiries of Vyasadeva. He has explained how the seeds of devotional service were sown by transcendental association and how they gradually developed by hearing the sages. The result of such hearing is detachment from worldliness, so much so that even a small boy could receive the death news of his mother, who was his only caretaker, as the blessings of God. And at once he took the opportunity to search out the Lord. A sincere urge for having an interview with the Lord was also granted to him. Although it is not possible for anyone to see the Lord with mundane eyes, he also explained how by execution of few transcendental services one can get rid of futile action of accumulated work and how he transformed his material body into a spiritual one. The spiritual body is alone able to enter into spiritual realm of the Lord, and no one but a pure devotee is eligible to enter into the kingdom of God. All the mysteries of transcendental realization are duly experienced by Narada Muni himself, and therefore, by hearing such an authority, one can have some idea of the results of devotional life, which are hardly delineated even in the original texts of Vedas. In the Vedas and the Upanishads, there are only indirect hints to all this. Nothing is directly explained there and therefore Srimad Bhagavatam is the mature fruit of all the Veda, tree of literatures.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Here further Narada Muni is concluding the importance of Bhagavatam and also how hearing about uh, so he's telling to Vyasadeva, you are freed from all the senses because he heard about Narada Muni. He is saying, Vyasadeva, you are freed. Same thing Krishna also says, Janma karma chame divyam yome vetya tattvataha tyakta deham punar janma niti mameti. So Arjuna, Krishna says, my activities, my janma as transcendental, one who understands tattvataha, they not take birth again. The same point Narada Muni is saying. So just by hearing this, you are freed from all the sins, and all this will be conducive for your personal satisfaction, also saying. So Prabhupada, the purport, brings out some points. Says seeds of devotional service. So we have to develop Bhakti Lata Bija. We say that, no, in the heart, the Bhakti has to be, seed has to be put, and it has to be sufficiently watered, and the fertilizer has to put. The water is chanting the holy name. Fertilizer is various activities or devotional service. Then only the Bhakti Lata Bija grows and it becomes a creeper, and creeper keep growing. That should keep growing and growing and reach the Goloka Vrindavan. So that is the seed we should develop. That can happen only when we detach from the worldly affairs. We should stop hearing anything related to the worldly affairs, and we should hear only about the Krishna. That is a process which will help us to get that. So Prabhupada also says that we can go back to Krishna in the spiritual body, not in our material body. I mean, there are exceptions. Dhruva Maharaj went in the same body. Sant Tukaram went in the same body. There is some examples, but generally no. So that's why only pure devotee can go back to Krishna. That's the Prabhupada brings out that. And there's only eligible. So for us all to get into the Goloka Vrindavan, we should get the purity in our heart. We get purify ourselves. And the result of devotional service is that. That's why Bhagavatam explaining this. So all the purpose of giving Bhagavatam is for us to understand, realize, and the process. So Sambandha, Abhidheya, Prayojana. So this all been explained. What is our relation with the God, and what is the process, and finally what is the result. And all the Upanishads and Puranas, they may give here and there points, but not the ultimate result. Bhagavatam is Amala Purana, the ripened fruit, which is like the mango without seed. Just drink it, because everything summarized there. That is the Bhagavatam. So just by reading Bhagavatam, we can get the benefit of all these activities. Hare Krishna. I'll stop here. The devotees can share any points. Yes. Who want to start? Today's okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Others. Go ahead.
I have few questions about today's class. I mean, I don't know related, but when we talk about so much detachment, why attachment at all? I mean, see, when something happens to our loved ones, no, the pain will feel automatically. It is not that we want to feel, but it comes. No, how we will detach the attachment will occur.
Yeah. So understanding is that care is required, love is required, but not attached. No, there's a difference, right? So too much attached to the body and bodily things. And, we have to care the body because that Atma is there. The loved ones, yes, definitely, but they are not the body. You need to understand that. Same point Krishna is telling Arjuna, this your Guru or Pitamaha, they are not Guru and Pitamaha, they are Atma. That's the difference. But at the same time, you cannot say that my children, my husband, my wife, they are not the body, I'll leave. No. We need to take care. But don't be too much attached. That's the difference. That's the difference when you understand. When you attach to Krishna, the slowly detachment comes. We know, yes, life is going on. It has to go. That's a difference. Hope you understand what I'm trying to say, Mataji.
Yeah, Prabhuji, but still we feel that pain if something
Yeah,
happens
yeah.
to our
So
loved one.
that's why Acharya says that, when Vaishnava dies, actually Vaishnava doesn't die, because Vaishnava is going back to Krishna. So when Vaishnava leaves, we actually feel joys. The reason is that he has gone back to Krishna, or he or she. But at the same time, we cry because we miss that person. So there's a kind of both, the both feelings together. Because he has gone back to Krishna, we are joyful. Because we miss him or her, we feel sorrow. So yeah, at the kind of missing point or vairagya will be there, but should not be too much attached to that. So the reason is that there are people, right? If something happens, they give up their life. That's not the point. That's the difference.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions, comments?
How do we understand that soul is being satisfied, Prabhuji? If I eat good things, then my tongue will be satisfied. If I watch movie, my senses will be. How is there any way that I understand that I'm doing right and my soul is being satisfied? Is there any smallest thing to understand that?
So whatever related sense, if you do it, you will get temporary satisfaction. But after that, you will feel something, what do you call, kind of a pain. An example, I'm saying, you watch a movie for 2 hours. Maybe that time you may be kind of a feeling some satisfaction. But after that, we'll feel headache or something, the side effect of it. Similarly, any other sense gratification, whether drugs or alcohol or too much eating or sex, all these things, it has got a side effect. You'll definitely feel suffer after that. Whereas when you do a devotional service, that is your happiness increases multi-factor. That's why, because the soul is happy, that's why you feel that. You will see the difference.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Hope I'm answering your question.
Yes, Prabhuji. A lot. Thank you.
About today's, any other points? Otherwise,
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
yes, Maria Prabhu.
Narada Bhakti Sutra.
Hmm.
Will you please throw some light on that?
Okay, I'll share the link tomorrow. There is a separate book about Narada Bhakti Sutra. So Narada's instructions has been documented. Prabhupada has written a purport for that. So I share a link. Maybe we can read through. Tomorrow's class, maybe we can touch upon. It's quite a big book. It's step by step given how we can perform devotional service. Different levels of devotional service is given. Just
one more question, Prabhuji.
Yes.
The other day they took a class for teachers training. In that Chinta, they H.G. Swana Krishna Prabhuji from Pune. He spoke about he spoke about Chinta is
not Chinta, Chitta.
Chinta.
Chitta.
Chitta.
Conscious.
Chitta is all the past life memories are stored in Chitta.
Yes.
It's a hard disk of all past life.
You are very good in grasping power, Prabhu. You are very good. You are grasping so nicely.
No. Is it possible to regain the contents of hard disk, Prabhuji?
Not for everybody. At least not for me. There are people. See, there are not everything can be experienced. There are certain the impressions gets revealed. Example, when we meet somebody first time, certain people feel that no, I don't want to meet this person. in ask her certain people, the first time it said, yes, I want to talk to him or her, you know. So that is because the past experience, a past impression is there in chitta, chit. So that is an expression giving. So it's not in this life. In this life, we never would have met that person, but coming from the past life. So that is the impressions there. So yeah, everything may not be released, but is there. Yeah. Okay.
Today's class, Seeds of Bhakti Rasa. I should stop listening to all about material world and purify myself.
Yes.
I think an average devotee, any devotee, I think gradually we will overcome Prabhuji.
Yes.
I'm sure from all our materialistic attractions, we'll. I think by now everybody would have got rid of cinema and these TV serials. That is the basic killing factors, I feel. I think if everyone can overcome cinema, news channels, and TV serials, I'm sure they are succeeded almost 50% of their devotional this thing.
Yes, true. That's the reason we're requesting come to Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, chanting. This is what helps us. You know, this help to kind of gradually gives. But due to some reason, devotees are not able to come here itself because the attraction is so much that they don't want to even come here. So that's what you can do. Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Sridevi Mata, do you want to say anything? Sorry, we cannot hear.
Narad Muni says we have to make use of our senses for devotional service rather than something else for mundane activities, sense gratification, and all.
Yeah.
Our senses are very powerful.
Yes. Shruti Mataji, anything?
Yes, Prabhuji, that's all. So we should hear and chant the activities of the Lord. Always keep our mind engaged in chanting and listening to the glories of the Lord. And also, like you told, this is like a bhakti lata. We should water it with the devotional service and bhakti. Then only like our senses, we should how to keep our senses engaged in devotional services. We should always keep engaged in his activities. Like you told, Srila Prabhupada always kept doing this once Pani Hatti festival, then Rath Yatra. So people will always be engaged in the devotional service, like the Damodar month and all. So only by doing all this, we can control our senses from going into Maya or something like that. And that's all. Whatever we do, we have to do it with full devotion and full heart. Just simply merely chanting without putting our heart and soul into it is of no use. That's what I understood, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Krishna. Asha Mataji, anything?
Use all our senses to listen and glorify the Supreme is what I understood from all that.
Thank you, Mataji. Archana Mataji, anything?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Nothing I asked. I could listen.
We'll end here now. So, Vancha Kalpatarabhyasya, Kripa Sindhavyacha, Paditana, Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Naman, Anta Koti Vaishnavrinda Kiji, Grantaraj, Bhagavatam Kiji, Srila Prabhupada Kiji.